I never thought my weekends would start like this, surrounded by racks of dresses, piles of makeup, and the constant click of my cousin's camera. My name's Ryan, and until recently, my life was fairly ordinary. A quiet college student, a part-time barista, and someone who mostly kept my quirks to myself. But everything changed the day my cousin Sophie decided that I had model potential. Sophie has always been daring, magnetic, and a little mischievous. She's the kind of person who convinces everyone around her to take risks, whether it's skydiving, spontaneous road trips, or in my case, turning me into her next Instagram sensation. I never imagined that her passion for photography and social media could pull me into a world I had only ever admired from afar. I've always had a fascination with fashion, though I kept it hidden. Skirts, makeup, accessories, they were part of a private curiosity, a quiet form of self-expression that I never dared to explore publicly. But with Sophie's encouragement, it felt less like a secret and more like an experiment, one that challenged every part of my comfort zone. I work part-time at a cozy cafe near campus. Pouring coffee, chatting with regulars, and managing the morning rush gives me a sense of control and normalcy. But behind closed doors, with Sophie's camera pointed at me, that control slips away. I become someone else entirely, softer, prettier, daring, and exposed. Her apartment is a mix between a photography studio and a fashion boutique. Bright natural light floods every corner, bouncing off white walls adorned with Sophie's previous shoots. A corner is stacked with heels of every size and color. Another corner holds racks of dresses ranging from casual to avant-garde. The atmosphere is intoxicating, thrilling, and slightly intimidating. It's here that I first stepped fully into the world of modeling, her world. Each outfit, each pose, each click of the camera felt like stepping further away from Ryan and closer to the persona Sophie wanted me to embody. Sophie has always been more than just a cousin. She's a force of nature. Confident, fearless, and endlessly persuasive, she has a way of making anyone feel like they can achieve the impossible. She's also the first person to truly see my hidden side, the part of me that's curious about crossdressing, fashion, and performance. But our dynamic isn't without tension. Sophie pushes boundaries. She encourages me to try things I never would on my own. Sometimes it's exhilarating, sometimes terrifying. But always, it's a test of how far I'm willing to go and how much of myself I'm willing to reveal. Then there's Emma, my girlfriend. Sweet, practical, and completely unaware of the experiments I conduct with Sophie. Our relationship is close, but I've always kept my cross-dressing hidden from her. Partly out of fear, partly out of shame, partly because I'm still figuring out what it means to me. Emma's presence in my life adds stakes I hadn't fully considered. Each shoot, each transformation, carries the risk of discovery. I love her, but the idea of her seeing me in heels, in makeup, or posing provocatively sends my heart into overdrive. There's excitement, yes, but also fear. It started small, a simple outfit Sophie pulled from her rack, a bit of eyeliner, a touch of lip gloss. She stepped back and smiled, camera in hand. "You've got this," she said, adjusting the lighting. "Just be yourself, or, at least, the version of yourself I want the world to see." I felt my stomach tighten. My hands trembled as I smoothed the fabric, the unfamiliar texture sending shivers up my spine. Standing there under the bright lights and the gaze of the camera, I felt exposed, vulnerable, but also electrified. This was different from anything I had ever done. The camera didn't just capture images. It captured a version of me I had long kept hidden. There's a rush in being someone else entirely. The soft brush of makeup, the swish of skirts, the click of heels on hardwood floors, it all combines into a heady mix of fear and excitement. Sophie guides me through each pose, each angle, each expression, and I follow. Tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. For a moment, I forget about Emma, about work, about classes. I'm entirely absorbed in this new identity. Ryan fades into the background, and what emerges is something daring, vulnerable, and beautiful. The challenge and thrill lies in maintaining balance. By day, I am Ryan, the careful student and barista. By weekend, under Sophie's direction, I transform. Each shoot, each outfit, each shared image on Instagram adds layers to this double life. There's an undeniable excitement in the secrecy. Posting pictures online, watching likes and comments roll in, feeling admired and noticed without anyone close to me knowing, it's intoxicating. But the fear of discovery is always there, lurking like a shadow, keeping the thrill razor sharp. As the first day of full modeling concludes, Sophie smiles and packs up her camera. "You were amazing today," she says. "Tomorrow, we'll push it further." I nod, both thrilled and anxious. There's so much more to explore: outfits, makeup, poses, and the complex dance between fear and exhilaration. I know I'm stepping deeper into a world that will challenge my identity, my courage, and my relationship with Emma. And yet, a small part of me is eager to see how far I can go. Eager to see how the world and Sophie's Instagram followers will respond to this daring, hidden side of me. The next weekend, Sophie was ready for round 2. She greeted me at the door with her usual energy, her camera swinging from her shoulder like a weapon of creativity. "Today," she said, "we're going to make you unforgettable." My stomach twisted in nervous excitement. Unforgettable wasn't just about looks. It was about performance, confidence, and fully inhabiting the persona Sophie demanded. As she pulled out outfits from her collection, I hesitated. A sleek satin dress, high heels, delicate jewelry. It was beautiful, but intimidating. My hands trembled as I held the fabric, imagining Emma seeing me like this. Shame, thrill, and curiosity mingled in my chest, creating a cocktail of emotions I couldn't untangle. I had always admired fashion, crossdressing, and performance from a distance. But now, under Sophie's guidance, I had to embrace it fully, publicly. Even if only online. The internal struggle was fierce. Part of me wanted to retreat, to go back to the safety of Ryan. But another part craved this transformation, the attention, the freedom to explore a side of myself I had long suppressed. Sophie clapped her hands and guided me to the makeshift studio she'd set up. "First, the dress," she instructed. I stepped into it, the soft fabric gliding over my skin. She handed me heels, and I felt the precarious shift in balance as I slipped them on.
"Posture," she said.
"Confidence. You are someone else now, someone people will admire." Applying makeup was another revelation. Foundation, blush, eyeliner, mascara. The ritual was meticulous. Each brushstroke changed me, altering not just my appearance but my very sense of self. When I finally looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the reflection. It was me, but amplified, taller, softer, more daring. Vulnerable, yet confident. The first pose was awkward. I froze, unsure how to move, how to express confidence. Sophie guided me, demonstrating gestures and angles, correcting my posture, and encouraging subtle expressions. With each click of the camera, I felt layers of my old self peel away, replaced by a persona both thrilling and terrifying. There was exhilaration in the exposure. My heart raced with every shot, every adjustment, every critique. Yet, lurking beneath that thrill was the fear of discovery. What if Emma found out? What if my friends saw these photos online? The tension made the experience sharper, more intoxicating. Sophie introduced props, hats, sunglasses, handbags, and insisted I move naturally with them. Each addition made the scene more complex, requiring focus, precision, and confidence. My nervousness clashed with the excitement of creativity, producing a heady mix of emotions that left me both exhausted and exhilarated. "Now," Sophie said, "let's go outside. Natural light, real-world shots." The idea terrified me. Outside, there were possibilities of encounters, strangers noticing, or worse, someone recognizing me. But the challenge was impossible to resist. I took a deep breath, adjusted the skirt, smoothed the vest, and followed her into the sunlight. On the street, I navigated stares and whispers. Some were admiring, some curious, some indifferent. But every glance felt like a test. I had to maintain the persona flawlessly, or risk exposure. Each step, each tilt of the head, Each subtle movement had to be deliberate. At one point, a neighbor waved. My heart leapt. Sophie whispered, "Act natural." I forced a casual smile, but the internal panic didn't subside. The thrill of being seen, yet unnoticed, was intoxicating and nerve-wracking. Back in the studio, Sophie immediately uploaded the best shots to Instagram. The flood of likes, comments, and direct messages was overwhelming. Admiration, curiosity, and even a touch of envy poured in. Each notification was a small validation, a secret thrill that no one in my daily life knew about. I stared at the screen, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Could I handle this attention? Could I balance my real life with this online persona? The line between Ryan and the Instagram model blurred further with every click, every comment, and every heart. As the day drew on, I noticed the subtle changes within myself. My posture was straighter, my movements more deliberate, my confidence growing. Yet, beneath it all, vulnerability lingered. The thrill of transformation came hand in hand with the fear of discovery. Sophie watched me with an approving smile.
You're getting it, she said.
Soon, you'll be a star. Everyone will know your name. Her words sent a shiver down my spine.
Star. Fame.
Exposure. I craved it, yes, but the stakes were higher than ever. Each photo shoot was not just about looks. It was a test of courage, identity, and secrecy. Halfway through the afternoon, a sudden interruption rattled me. A friend of Sophie's arrived unexpectedly. I froze, the heels suddenly feeling heavier, the dress restrictive. Sophie smiled mischievously, introducing me as the latest project. Meet Ryan, or should I say, my new model. Panic surged. How much did this person know? Could they recognize me? The thought of exposure tightened my chest, but Sophie's confidence was infectious. I followed her lead, maintaining the persona, masking my fear beneath practiced poses and smiles. A mirror in the corner reflected the duality of my life. Half of me was Ryan, nervous, cautious, hidden. The other half was the model, confident, daring, visible. The dress, heels, and makeup weren't just accessories. They were symbols of transformation, vulnerability, and power. Holding a handbag in one hand, adjusting sunglasses with the other, I realized the stakes were higher than I thought. Every prop, every outfit, every frame captured my dual life. Exposure could come at any moment. By the end of the day, I was exhausted but exhilarated. The camera clicked, Instagram notifications pinged, and Sophie's laughter filled the room. I had navigated strangers, unexpected guests, and the complexities of my identity, all while maintaining the persona. Yet the thrill was addictive. The combination of fear, desire, and transformation created a high I couldn't ignore. I knew this was only the beginning. Sophie's world had a gravity all its own, pulling me deeper into a life that blurred lines between Ryan, the private self, and the Instagram model, the daring persona. Sophie leaned back, satisfied with the day's work. Next week, she said, we go bigger. We push limits. I have something special planned, and it's going to change everything. I nodded, heart pounding. I knew the next step would challenge me further. Public appearances, risk of discovery, and the emotional intensity of living between two identities. The line between private and public was narrowing, and the stakes had never been higher. The build-up was complete. I had embraced transformation, faced internal conflict, navigated social tension, and now stood on the precipice of something thrilling and terrifying: total exposure. The following weekend, Sophie had something bigger planned. Today, she said with a gleam in her eyes, we're going live. I froze.
Live?
Not just photos anymore, video, real-time exposure. My stomach churned. I had handled Instagram posts, comments, and even surprise visitors, but this was different. One slip, one hesitation, and everything, the carefully crafted dual life, my secret passions, my identity, could be exposed to the world in a heartbeat. As Sophie set up the live stream, a knock sounded at the door. My heart jumped. Visitors? Right now? Sophie opened it, revealing her friend group, cheerful, energetic, and completely oblivious to the tension in the room. They were expecting fun, playful poses, not a high-stakes cross-dressing transformation. Perfect timing, Sophie said, ushering them in. You're just in time to see the magic happen. My mind raced. Could I pull this off? Could I maintain composure under so many eyes, some familiar, some strangers, all watching in real time? The camera turned on. The world was watching. Each pose, each gesture, each movement felt amplified. I could feel the sweat on my palms, the tremor in my voice, the fluttering in my stomach. Sophie guided me through the session, her instructions precise, encouraging, and relentless. Tilt your head slightly. Confidence. You're irresistible. Irresistible. The word felt strange coming from my own lips. It was intoxicating, but also terrifying. This wasn't just about appearance anymore, it was about performance, identity, and emotional control. Midway through the live session, I heard a familiar voice. Ryan. My blood ran cold.
Emma.
How had she gotten here? The front door opened, and she stepped inside, eyes wide. Emma, I whispered, panic rising. My hands fumbled with my outfit. The skirt, the heels, the makeup, it all felt suddenly suffocating. Sophie froze for a moment, then smiled mischievously. Surprise. Emma's gaze swept over me. Recognition, confusion, disbelief. It was all there. My carefully constructed persona, my secret world, was on the verge of collapse. I tried to explain, to speak, but my words faltered. Emma's eyes were fixed on me, questioning, searching for answers. Each heartbeat was deafening. The live stream continued, viewers watching, likes and comments flooding in. The adrenaline surged through me. Should I reveal the truth? Should I hide, pretend, or retreat? My dual identities clashed violently. Ryan, terrified and exposed. The model, confident and visible. I stumbled slightly in my heels, my balance faltering. A laugh from Sophie's friends startled me further. The skirt shifted dangerously. I froze, every muscle taut with fear. A mirror in the corner reflected the chaos. Two versions of me stared back, one vulnerable, one poised. The dress clung perfectly, the makeup flawless, the heels elegant, but beneath the surface, anxiety and fear bubbled dangerously. Emma stepped closer. Ryan, what's going on? The words felt like a physical blow. My secret, my thrill, my double life, all hanging in the balance. I had seconds to act. Sophie encouraged me to continue, to pose, to stay in character. But Emma's gaze pinned me down. Should I risk the live audience seeing the truth? Or should I retreat, risking Sophie's wrath? I took a deep breath, adjusting the skirt, forcing my shoulders back, trying to exude the confidence I didn't feel. Every pose was a tightrope walk, every smile a mask of control. Then, disaster struck. One heel caught the edge of the rug. I teetered, nearly falling. The camera wobbled. Gasps erupted. My heart raced. Sophie reached out, steadying me. You've got this. Don't break character. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. The world was watching, and I couldn't afford to falter. A notification popped up on the screen. A viewer recognized me. Wait, isn't this Ryan? I know him. Panic surged. Sophie laughed it off, but my mind spun. Could this person reveal everything? Would Emma finally understand? Or judge? The stakes were higher than ever. I forced a smile, striking another pose. The duality of my life, the private Ryan and the public model, clashed violently. Every movement required precision, every expression demanded control. Physical strain and emotional release. The session continued. My legs ached from heels, my hands trembled, my voice quivered whenever I had to speak. Yet, amidst the fear and adrenaline, there was a strange exhilaration. I had never felt so alive, so visible, so daring. Emma's gaze softened slightly, a mix of shock and curiosity. She didn't yet understand, but the intensity of the moment left room for possibilities. Could she accept the side of me? Could she embrace the thrill I had discovered? Sophie, sensing the tension, pushed further. Let's try the balcony shots. Wind, movement, drama, My heart sank. Outside, exposed, with Emma and her friends watching, the risk of exposure skyrocketed. But I had come this far. I couldn't back down. The wind whipped my hair, the skirt swirled, and the camera clicked relentlessly. Each shot captured not just my appearance, but the turmoil inside me, the fear, excitement, and vulnerability all laid bare. As I adjusted a flowing scarf, a gust of wind dislodged it, sending it tumbling toward Emma. She caught it instinctively, and our eyes met. In that fleeting second, the mask slipped, vulnerability and truth intertwined. The mirror from inside reflected our faces, my dual identity, her astonishment, and the fragile bridge between secrecy and revelation. The live stream continued, the audience unaware of the emotional storm. Emma's expression shifted between shock, curiosity, and something unreadable. Sophie's grin was mischievous, knowing that the tension had reached its peak. I froze, caught between identities, exposed to the world and to Emma, and unsure which path to take next. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. The room was heavy with tension. Emma's eyes never left me, scanning every detail, the skirt, the heels, the makeup, the aura I had tried so desperately to maintain. Sophie's camera clicked, capturing every second, while her friends cheered and clapped, oblivious to the emotional storm unfolding. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my racing heart. Part of me wanted to run, to strip away the dress, kick off the heels, and hide in Ryan's familiar safety. But another part, daring, curious, alive, urged me to stay, to face this moment fully, despite the risk. Emma stepped closer. "Ryan," she began, her voice faltering. I couldn't read her expression. Shock?
Confusion?
Curiosity? Judgment? The uncertainty cut through me like a knife. I caught sight of myself in the full-length mirror Sophie had propped up nearby. Two images stared back, Ryan, anxious and vulnerable, and the model, confident and poised. The reflection was more than skin-deep. It symbolized every secret, every thrill, and every risk I had taken in this double life. A gust of wind from the open balcony tugged at the flowing scarf around my shoulders. Emma instinctively caught it, her fingers brushing mine. The contact was electric, grounding me in the reality of the moment while reminding me of the precarious balance I was maintaining. On the laptop, the live stream continued. Hundreds of viewers watched in real time, unaware of the tension between Ryan, the model, and Emma. Comments streamed in. "OMG, this is unreal. Is that Ryan? She looks amazing." The notifications pinged relentlessly. I felt trapped in a spotlight, every heartbeat magnified, every movement scrutinized. Exposure was no longer hypothetical, it was happening. And if Emma reacted the wrong way, the consequences could be devastating. Sophie, sensing the drama, leaned close and whispered, "Now's your moment. Own it. Don't let fear win." I took a shaky breath, trying to summon the confidence I had felt in front of the camera countless times before. But fear clawed at me, reminding me of what was at stake. My identity, my secret, my relationship with Emma. Do I stay in this persona, risking everything for the thrill and the possibility of acceptance? Or do I retreat, exposing nothing but sacrificing the courage I had built over these weekends? The choice felt impossible. Every second stretched into eternity. Just as I opened my mouth to speak, a notification popped up on Sophie's laptop. A direct message from a follower who recognized me. "Ryan? Is this really him?" My stomach dropped. The tension was unbearable. One wrong move, 1 second of hesitation, and my carefully constructed double life could unravel completely. Emma's gaze sharpened. "Ryan, tell me the truth," she demanded, her voice both gentle and firm. The room seemed to shrink. Every eye, every camera, every notification felt like it was bearing down on me. My heart raced, my palms were clammy, and for the first time, I felt the true weight of being exposed, not just physically but emotionally. I froze, unable to move, speak, or decide. Sophie's friends whispered, nudged each other, and laughed, unaware of the gravity of the moment. The live audience continued to watch, comments flying, hearts clicking. The mirror reflected my dual selves, Ryan, vulnerable and terrified, and the Instagram model, bold and exposed. I realized in that instant that no matter what I chose, nothing would be the same after this. Emma's eyes softened slightly, but the question in her gaze remained. Could she accept this side of me? Or had my secret finally crossed a line she couldn't forgive? And then everything stopped. The camera clicked one last time, the wind from the balcony stilled, and the room held its collective breath. I was caught between two worlds, the safety of Ryan, the thrill of the model, and the unpredictable reaction of the person I loved most. The live stream was still running. Emma was still watching. Sophie was smiling knowingly. My heart raced faster than ever, every instinct screaming that this moment would define everything to come. Would I survive the exposure? Would Emma understand? Would my secret life unravel? Or would it become something new, something daring, something exhilarating?